there's a lot of things that you can control. You can do a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. There's people that are, may have more talent when they're born or better circumstances when they're born, but if they don't do anything with it, they just tend to stay around where they are.
For sure. It's just like that, in everything, you gotta evolve and grow.
Today I have the pleasure to chat with Aung Sung. Aung is from Burma, Myanmar, and he beat everybody's ass over at one championship. My homie Rich Franklin's over there. Rich and I know each other well. I like Rich a lot, great man. So you hurt my feelings earlier. We were talking about it on camera here that you guys know me. I didn't have the best childhood already, and my father was a cocaine trafficker, and my father and my uncle they spent 15 years each in prison when I was a child. So my dad wasn't around, before he went to prison, and then after he went to prison, I had to grow up with my mother as she wasn't the best mother. But Aung, when he comes to meet me, and he tells me that as a child he had a baby elephant, and I thought it hurt my dreams even more. I was just getting over my childhood traumas. I was just getting over them. And now I realize that there's people around the world that are not only 6-time champions in MMA, but also had the joy of growing up with a baby elephant.
Well, elephants are pretty common, where we live. If you like you saying, there's a deer in my backyard, and I would be shocked, because in my country, if there's a deer in my backyard, it becomes dinner.
No. That's what we do in America as well, in the Midwest, as you know.
That's why it's very scarce, But for us, like, for my dad line, my father's line of work, it was very common. It wasn't an uncommon thing, And I know you like you love animals, you like animals, so I had to let you know.
Tell us a bit about your journey. So you're growing up in Myanmar, Burma. A lot of people don't know where that is, so maybe explain that.
Yeah.
But what is that like coming from that part of the world? When you're a child, there's not even a lot of travel in and out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like Myanmar is one of the countries that a lot of people don't know about. Like, I would go to like a Chinese restaurant, right? And I would sit there and I would eat something, and they would look at me and be like, "Hey, where are you from? What country are you from?" Because I look Asian, but they can't really. I'm pretty big for an Asian person, so they can't really finger where I'm from, right? So, and I'd say I'm from Myanmar, right? And they wouldn't know where Myanmar is. So to me, that's pretty crazy, because it'd be like you not knowing where Mexico is, because Myanmar neighbors China, and it's not a small country. It's the size of Texas, maybe bigger, but it has about 60 million people. That's a lot of people. But not many people know about it because of the political situation there, right? So when I was growing up, my dad was a jade miner, and he made sure that we went to like a international school, right? It was called International School of Yangon in the capital city. So we lived up in the northern state, and then we moved down to the city, and that's where we went to school. And then that's where I was able to go travel abroad for school.
So you traveled abroad. You finished school in the States, Michigan, yeah.
Michigan, yeah. And I got a degree in agriculture science, the most useless degree. And I became a beekeeper. But during that time, I started training mixed martial arts. Started fighting in 2005 professionally, but not really professionally, But in 2005, we were still in an early stage of MMA, But when I was a kid, I did karate, just love combat sports. But in our country, it wasn't really. Parents would never push their kids to fight. It's for the low class people. Fighters are low class, not good people. So parents back home during my time would never encourage you to fight.
My experience with the fight community, I think there's the last group of people that are still like independently minded. So I have a very different opinion. These are the last group of people that are independently minded, very hardworking, tend to keep their word very consistently. The people that I know, and I might be around a biased group. That most of the fighters I'm interviewing are world champions or top 5, top 10 contenders. But the people that make it to that level, they keep their word. They show up on time. They work their ass off. They do more than is expected of them. And it's like the last group of people that they still think for themselves. That they seem to be less influenced by some of the political or other social factors happening in the world. That they could be they're world travelers, etc. So they're I've had very good experience with I don't think of fighters as low class. I have very good experience with the fighters.
For sure, and I'm sure most of them are pretty down to earth, right? Like they're pretty genuine people. Like as far as like my fight career goes, like I'm not super talented. I'm not super like anything special. It's just that like I could say top of my head, there's at least 100 people way more talented than me that stopped, before me, if not thousands even, that are way more talented than me when they first started, But the thing I had was, I was strong because I worked at a dairy farm, Physically I was strong. I had a hard head. My bones are pretty dense, and I kept going, But as far as, the fighters that make it to the top, they have to grind, they have to grind. And during that grind, it teaches you something about life. It teaches you to stay humble, and go get over your difficulties.
I've had a thought similar to that so many times in my life that I think there were plenty of people that I grew up around that were more talented than me, had a better start than I did, had at that time in my life, they were in a situation that I wish I had better circumstances, and I wasn't mad at them. I never had a feeling like, that somebody has something I'd like to have and fuck that person. So I wasn't mad at them, but I look at.
Stop that thought real quick. Like your point of view is you weren't mad at them, right? You weren't mad at them. And I think that's a really important outlook. When you get mad and when you get mad over things like, your situation and how come I'm not as good, I think that messes you up a lot.
Yeah, I just wanted to do better.
Yeah.
I just looked, you looked at some other people and I'm like, wow, I wish, I wish my family was more like that, or I wish my circumstances were more like that. And, I think as part of that maturation process of, growing up and being a well-functioning adult, you talked about this in fighting, that, that it makes you realize truths about life, or, learn some harsh things about life sometimes, or just learn about reality, how the things really work. And I had part of that process that I just wanted to do better. And I thought, well, what are the things that I have control over, and what are the things that I don't have control over? So what are the things that you might as well accept things that you can't control. If you can't change the situation, then there's no sense to be upset about that. Or if it starts raining and we're not mad, what the hell are we going to do about it? Now it's raining.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, but there's a lot of things that you can control, that you can do a little bit better, and even people. I think you'll agree with this point that there's people that are may have more talent when they're born, or better circumstances when they're born, but if they don't do anything with it, they just tend to stay around where they are.
For sure.
And somebody who's making progress, one day is far surpasses them, and they literally could never catch up.
It's so crazy, man. Like just talking about the guys at our gym, right? There's a guy that's going to fight in the PFL for the $1 million finals, And 3 years ago, he came into our gym, first time, and he's 1-1. That's pretty bad, right? 1-1 fighter.
That's one more professional win than I have.
Yeah. So that's pretty crazy, right? And now, in a few months, he'll be fighting for that $1 million. It's like it's crazy how, if you put time and energy and your mind into growing, like within 3 years, you can get from 1-1 to fighting for the $1 million tournament. Just that's crazy to me. I mean, it's not crazy, but it's like it's the reality of whatever you pursue. And I know when people say fighting is like very honest sport, because when you go in there, You can't depend on your coach. You can't depend on all you have is your two fists and your legs, you know, and your mind. That's all you have, and that the truth will come out, you know, whether you've been putting that work in or not, you know. But like you said, like there are so many. I mean, I've seen so many talented people, right? So many talented people that come in the gym and does amazing, and as soon as they lose one, you know, they break. And then there's guys that are never break. You know, they just keep coming day after day after day after day, you know. And these people are like the ones that make it.
Yeah, I have volatility like this in my investments. And, you know, people don't understand that if they haven't lived it. You'll understand it because you're living your version of it. But there's times in the stock market where, you know, on my best days, I might be up $2.5 million in a day. On a bad day, I might be down $1.7 million in a day. And, you know, there's a lot of people that we both know, that we have some friends in common that, you know, I have, you know, 200 days a year I'm training with, you know, a high level, you know, world champion, former world champion, and it's helped me with my fitness. When I'm around these people, I don't let this it doesn't interfere with my training. It doesn't interfere with my other business things that I have to do. I don't get sad. I don't get depressed. I'm just like, yeah, that's part of the process.
Yeah.
And there's going to be volatility. So if you start, you know, you talked about being humble or being, you know, honest with yourself, that when things are going well in your life, if you start telling yourself that, you know, you're the greatest, you're the best, you're such a genius and so wonderful at everything, and you forget to keep making that little progress every day, pretty soon your results are very bad.
For sure, that's 100%.
And I just remind myself, like, well, what are the things that got me to my current circumstances? What are the things that allowed me to have good days? And when I have a bad day, I'm just like, you know, is there information? Did I learn something new that would change my opinion about the future of my investments? Is there some new information that means that I was wrong with my investment thesis? And if that's not true, then I think, well, you know, so is your investment thesis still true?
And
okay, then you just wait and let time do what it does.
Yeah, and you continue have to learn and grow, right? Yeah. And evolve. And I feel the same way with fighting. You know, like it's like there were a time when, like the jiu-jitsu guys were always winning, right? Royce Gracie always winning. Then people would learn how to defend the submission, and then the wrestlers came about. You know, it's just like that. You know, in everything. You gotta evolve and grow. The way we like for my dad's instance, right? The way they mine jade is now different. You know, everything's evolving with time and age. If you don't evolve, it's like you get left behind. You know, and that goes the same with mixed martial arts and other endeavors in life. You know. My 401k went down by like 60 grand, and I'm not freaking out. I have no idea on stocks, but when it went down this, you know, beginning of the year, I was like, oh no, I'm never gonna look at it again. And it's only 60,000, you know. It's like this guy's laughing at me.
No, I think it's the part that I'm laughing at is I have a lot of my friends that I'm training with. You know, they're some of the best fighters in the world, you know, as are you. But then, you know, if I ask them, you know, hey, come do this talk with me, they're like, you want me to talk to people on a stage? You know, they get scared of something like that.
It's a word. I'd rather get in a fist fight in front of thousands of people than walk up on stage and talk. That's one of my biggest fear. Yeah. It's crazy.
No, it's a very common fear, but I think that's so things like that, or, you know, oh, I lost a few dollars in my brokerage account, so that, you know, so some, you know, legitimately some of the toughest guys in the world that are the best fighters ever, you know, some of them get, you know, their stock account goes down a little bit, and they're like, you know, like, oh, what do I do?
we don't want to look at it.
Or talk on stage in front of people. It's like, oh no.
So to each their own, right? To each their own.
Well, if I had to go, I could go to Madison Square Garden, or I could go to whatever and speak to a large audience. And the largest audience I ever had was like 1,100, so not a big stadium, but it's still, you know, quite a bit of people. Yeah. And I feel very comfortable if I'm speaking about something that I know about, then I feel very comfortable. Yeah. If I had to talk about some things I don't know about, I just wouldn't do it because, of course, I wouldn't. You know, it'd be bad. Yeah. But if I had to go fight, if I had to go in front of the same audience and fight another man, I think, yeah, I'd have to calm my nerves a little bit about that and get used to it. So
you've seen that scene, the scene in Gladiator, right? When the Gladiator when they were about to walk out for the first time, I think he just became like he was forced into being a gladiator, and there's like some guy standing there and some guy sitting there and starting to pee his pants.
Actually, I know the scene. Yeah.
And just imagine that, it's like.
Oh, I wouldn't be that guy. But
no, but if you had never fought before, I mean, he's a general, so he's seen so many war before, For him, it's like a walk in the park. But for the guy that's like, oh shit, am I gonna die? Am I gonna get chopped? Is my arm gonna get chopped off? For him, it's like, he's never felt it before, It's just like that. For us, going in front of a stage and talking, it's like, our craft is not our mouth, our craft is in our fists and our legs, So it's like, it makes sense, We would pee our pants before that big stage.
Well, I've been in plenty of fights as a child, but I'm not nervous about fighting. If somebody puts their hands on me, I can react to that quickly. Yeah. But if that moment, even I don't want to say their names out of respect, but some guys that are some of the best fighters in the world right now, guys that have told me like that walkout, that they hate the walkout the most. That they're fine in back when they're warming up. They feel fine when they get into the stage, into the ring, but that walk from the back to the ring is very nervous for some people.
Because in that backstage is really dark too. It's kind of like that scene from the Gladiator. It's kind of dark, right? It's kind of dark, and you're in your own head. Sometimes people's head, thinks about things that they shouldn't be thinking about, and that gets them nervous. So you got to really know what to think about when you're in there, when you're about to walk out. You got to have thoughts of you got to think thoughts of that's gonna pump you up,
I was living on my coach's living room on a mattress. I ended up just bouncing at a bar. I'd been a cop. I quit my job. And
Derek Moneyberg presents 10 Commandments of Wealth.
Took the gamble on myself to become a successful professional fighter and make it to the UFC with pride. And at the time,
am I making a sacrifice right now, or am I just investing in a better future? So it's easier for me to make those decisions when I think about it. Is like, oh,
yeah, absolutely. And now that you mention it, having to actually really process and think about it, I think that word sacrifice is kind of like, I believe it's the word that the ones at the top kind of use to make everyone else feel better about it. Because when you're at the top, now you realize that was an investment.
Was everything just golden and easy and handed to you, or do you have a little struggle yourself along the way?
No. Yeah, in 2013 and 2015, I was living out of my car, full time, and I was too proud to ask for help. Like, how ridiculous is that? You're living out of your car and you think you know it all. And 2015, that's when I kind of I knew that I didn't know it all. So why not find experts in that and really shortcut that? I thought I was going to just chip away. I thought I was just going to read books till I was an expert. I never really talked to anyone that actually did it.
It's been about a week since I've joined the 10 Commandments of Wealth program, and there's so many interviews that are offered in this program. I'm inside the Derek Moneyberg 10 Commandments of Wealth program. This is an awesome program that you're gonna love. I'm gonna use the principles and the knowledge from this program to help me boost my leads in my marketing firm. Buy this program, it's a wonderful investment for your future. You won't regret it, and you'll absolutely love it.